As we go through life, at one point or another, we are all bound to encounter a crisis of some kind, be it personal, such as financial problems, redundancy, the end of a relationship, an illness, a loss, or external ones such as natural disasters or a global crisis of some kind. All these often leave behind a trail of devastating consequences, and many of us truly struggle with the emotional strain of trying to cope with the aftermath. A crisis also usually leads to a change or changes in some manner, or sometimes entirely different circumstances altogether. Even if all return to what other people might consider as normal, for us who had to brave through it, feel that nothing is ever the same again. This feeling could lead to a sense of being lost in the sea of our attempt to try to recover. The world as we knew it has fallen apart, shattered, and we are not quite sure how to adjust, how to adapt ourselves to survive in what we see as our new world order, which comes across as hostile. In other words, we feel utterly lost because we are now in an unfamiliar territory of the woods, driven by a wildfire from the familiar green meadow that had been our home into the dark, shadowy depths of the forest. The sense of familiarity and comfort of the home and the hearth are gone, and we feel unsheltered and exposed to the elements, and we, who are creatures of habits, have lost that sense of safety and security needed for the peace of mind. We have lost the sense of control over our lives, and maybe for the first time we realize we are not the masters of our own destiny. We feel like we are at the mercy of something we know so little about. We are forced to accept how small and powerless we are, with humility. That might not necessarily be a bad thing to be reminded of once in a while. When encountering a crisis, most of us ask the question, why? Not so much because we wanted to know the answer, but because we just want to express our self-pity and a sense of victimization and injustice, that we feel we suffer at the hands of the universe somehow. We find it hard to accept the subsequent consequences because we feel like we should be that special lamb that doesn't get eaten by wolves. However, all this thought process is a natural part of our human nature. We need to give ourselves time to be lost, at least mentally. We need time to process all that has happened to us, time to be angry, to be sad, to cry. This stage might be longer for some of us, but it is an essential part of the road to recovery and acceptance. We need to let ourselves be completely engulfed in a lostness in order to be found. It takes even longer for the wound to heal, and for some of us it will never be completely healed. But little by little, we will learn to live with it as a part of our new selves. Unfortunately, there is no magic solution to most problems, just like a heartache that can't be cured overnight. Only time will wash away our sorrows and dry our tears. But one consolation is that from every ruin emerges a new beginning. The world will rebuild itself, and so will you, as long as you shall live. Our greatest relief, meanwhile, is hope. Hope and the knowledge that it will get better, just as the storm cannot last forever. Look at the wreckage that is left and see if you could create something beautiful out of it, just like nature rebuilding itself. Most of us find it hard to muster together a strength to carry on after a crisis hit. we can't see what the difference our actions would make to tomorrow. One of the greatest weapons against this kind of despair is gratitude, something we often neglect to practice when life gets in a rut. The way gratitude is sometimes portrayed might have made it come across as such a grand concept, something too noble, too inaccessible to put into practice. People often think you can only be grateful for life big events, such as a matrimony, a promotion, or a birth of a child. But the true benefits of gratitude lies not in those great events, but rather in the small things of our daily life. Gratitude simply happens when you don't take anything in life for granted, from the littlest convenience to the people in your life. Gratitude is also about the present, about appreciating the things that are right here, right now, rather than fretting about or longing for the things that were or will be. In the times of hardship, even the smallest things matter. Take care of yourself as best as you can, both mentally and physically, under our limited circumstances. It all starts with small things like sleeping well, good routine, and good diet. Focus on the basics when you feel you haven't yet the strength to do more. Seek out small pleasures, a warm cup of tea, the morning tweet of birds in the balmy air, the early spring blooms, the softness of your favorite jumper, and the warm sunlight on your face, or a puppy's joyous bark. Be kind to yourself and others. The world is in great need of kindness right now. Find yourself a sanctuary. It could be a physical place you can escape from all the noise and hubbub, or a mental space in your head where you can find peace and calm. Or it could be an activity that by doing which you could retreat into your own world for a while. Any of these can be extremely useful tools in helping you regain the much needed peace of mind and get back on your feet again. Look forward to the future, but without any expectations. Just enjoy the ride and the surprises you encounter along the way. Finally, never blame yourself for what happened. You may learn lessons from this crisis, but as long as you continue to blame yourself, or indeed others, for that, you would never be able to let go and would continue to be lost without being able to find a new path. Embrace and accept the fact that you have done the best that was realistically possible under those particular circumstances. Before you go to bed tonight, look at the stars and tell yourself, there is still hope yet.